Hello, I'm Helen Bradley. Welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can process an image using the Quick Develop panel in Lightroom and why this is different to using the Develop module itself. In this video tutorial, we're going to have a look at the Quick Develop panel here in the Library module in Lightroom. Now, the Quick Develop panel gives us access to some of the features that we're used to using in the Develop panel. So the first thing that you might be asking is, why are they here in the Library module and why would I want to use them? Well, they're a really handy way of applying some global changes to your images. Now, I have a selection of images here and you can see them along the film strip. Now, these were all shot in similar circumstances. I've just made virtual copies out of them, but as I flick through them, you'll notice that they're all pretty much of the same building. And if you have a look at the histogram for each of these images, you'll see that they're somewhat underexposed. And this was consistent across the entire set of images. Now, this same thing might happen if you were, for example, shooting in a studio under studio lights. You might find that you have a whole sequence of images that all have a similar issue that you'd like to process all at once. Well, the Quick Develop modules are one way to do that. I'm just going to select all of the images in this sequence. And now I can make some changes to these images. For example, if I click Auto Tone, every single one of these images will have an Auto Tone fix applied to it. But it won't have the exact same Auto Tone fix because Lightroom's going to have a look at every single one of these images and determine what each of these images requires. And it's going to apply that fix to each of the images. Now, another reason why I really like the Quick Develop panel, I'm just going to reselect this image here, is that it has a Reset All option in it. Now, if I click for any image in my catalog, if I click Reset All, then all the changes that I've made to that image in the Develop panel or in the Quick Develop panel here are all going to be removed. So as a teacher, that's really handy for me. So that allows me to, for example, work on an image in a class and then remove those changes to the image so that the image is as it was out of the camera for next time I hold class. Now, I'm just going to press Ctrl A again to select everything in this collection. I'm going to reset all of them. And we're going to have another look at the options that are available here in the Quick Develop panel. Well, one of the things that you can do is apply a preset to the images. So if there is a preset that you typically use with your images, you can apply it using this option here. You can also fix your white balance. Now, these are all DNG or raw images, so that means that the white balance options I have for these images are the same as are available in my camera. So if, for example, I've shot them with the wrong white balance setting, I can fix that up now. So I can select an alternative white balance setting. Well, Cloudy isn't too happy. I think it probably really needs to be daylight. We've already had a look at the tone control and looked at auto tone, but let's have a look now at exposure. We could add a third of a stop of exposure to every single one of the selected images by clicking here on this arrow. And if we want to add a full stop, we can do so by clicking the double arrow. And likewise, we can go backwards and we can decrease exposure by a third or a full stop. And then we can adjust contrast by a little bit and a big bit. And highlights as well, shadows, whites and blacks. So we can make adjustments to these images, and if we have all of them selected, then the adjustments are being made to all those images at the one time. We also have adjustments here for clarity and vibrance. So I'm going to add a little bit of extra clarity to these images. And I'm going to add a bit of vibrance. But look what happens when I hold down the Alt key. Sharpening and saturation appear where clarity and vibrance had been before. I'm going to let go of the Alt key, and here are clarity and vibrance back again. There's a sort of space-saving option happening here. To save the panel from being too long, I'm assuming that the developers just hid these two options. So if you hold the Alt key and keep it held down, you can add a bit of sharpening and saturation to the image. But just notice that the sharpening feature here is the sort of all or nothing. There are no separate sliders for amount, detail, radius, or masking. So you'll probably really want to do your sharpening inside the Develop panel, but you can add a bit of saturation this way. And if you let go of the Alt key, you'll get your clarity and vibrance back again. The most likely use that you're going to have for this Quick Develop panel is when you've shot a series of images in a sequence and where all of the images are suffering from the same sort of basic problem. Selecting all of the images and then applying your adjustments to them using the Quick Develop panel is a quick way of quick starting the process of developing your images. And once you're ready to go ahead, you can just take the image into the Develop module. The settings that you've already applied to the image are going to be in place here in the basic panel, and then you can go ahead and individually adjust this image to give it what it specifically needs. Because you've got a whole lot more options available to you for editing your photos, of course, in the Develop module. But you can quick start the process in the Library module, and the changes that you've made to the image will be apparent in the Develop module. You'll also be able to see them in the history here, and you can see here that we've played around with resetting our settings. We've done an auto tone, we've done white balance, exposure, clarity, vibrance, and saturation. They were all done in the Library module using the Quick Develop panel, and they're visible here as history steps. These are steps in processing the image, and they're going to be recorded exactly the same way as other steps would be if you were making changes to the image, for example, using the Develop module. So there's a quick roundup of the Quick Develop panel available here in the Library module of Lightroom. So as you're working through your images, perhaps reviewing them, perhaps keywording them, if you want to make some quick edits to them, you can do that using the Quick Develop panel. I'm Helen Bradley. Thank you for joining me for this video tutorial. Look out for more of my video tutorials here on my YouTube channel. And consider subscribing to my channel, and you'll be alerted when new videos are released. And visit my website at projectwoman.com, where you'll find more tips, tricks and tutorials on a range of applications, including Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator and a whole lot more.